out here today. A few of them are our friends also. So please do have little patience because it's a long drawn evening. Short time I will take from you all. Just to let you know, I was also thinking, why me, right? Mukul, we know from the very beginning, the day one when you started Kolkata Heritage Collective. It's been a long journey for you guys, and I've been following and we have been planning to do something together for the longest time.
So finally,
I told her finally today that yes, we will be here. I will be here giving a very brief, not a speech, but I always like digging people's head, mind with ideas and everything. And also I would like to wish you all Eid Mubarak. It's a special day. This is the city which we, where we always celebrate all the festivals with all Elan. What I'm talking today is very close to my heart because I have been, when I came back to the city after studying overseas, I realized that what did I come back for was the most important of it all was that I thought I had something to contribute for the city, and I should continue working here after learning and bringing back all the knowledge from all across the world where I've been traveling. My talk in a very quick speech way is about preserving memory and designing the future. This is I'm meeting and I'm getting to see all the architects or the people who have done great work of reviving and bringing together the old heritage structures. And this being the election season, I would also like to say that hopefully CHC will become a lobbying group to remind the ruling or whoever comes into power that groups like this should try to do some kind of lobbying of establishing some kind of design language for heritage city and the heritage parts of the city out here. I always say that heritage cannot exist without the civic planning. When we speak about heritage, we often speak about buildings, but heritage does not survive by accident. It survives because city chooses to design policies that protect its character. The building heights are controlled in certain heritage sections. The facade styles are regulated and constant. People always say it will become homogeneous. I'm not talking about being homogeneous, but what we talk about is certain design languages can be followed and given out to tell the architects who will develop newer buildings coming up in these zones that please follow this in this heritage zone. I'm not talking about across the city, but just to preserve those heritage factors. Another thing which always bothers everyone out here is always the signages and the materials which are guiding us through the city. It is, first of all, you don't get to see what really the signages are trying to tell you. You are trying to hunt for it. Of course, you have Google Maps nowadays, but the signages is also something which we need to, need to regularize to make it more readable. Everything is all over the place, and of course, I don't know if there is a lot of hoardings, which is of course part of the commercial activity, if they can also be placed in certain ways, because these beautiful buildings are half of the time covered by hoardings. That's an earnest on his request that how can we work around it. The Heritage Collective can suggest. And one of the most important things is the public spaces are protected, but also it's open to the public. As we are moving forward, we are constantly seeing that places where people can gather. A city and its civic planning is not a successful place until it thinks of the common people. And I'm seeing everywhere, everything is getting guarded. People don't have access. It becomes a bit selfish city, which Kolkata was never like that. I have grown up around paras where we used to have rock. Rock means where in the evening, uncles, para chelera, everybody will come and do addas and stuff. But what we're doing, we're taking over all those spaces, those footpaths and everything, and the telling and regulating the idea that this place only belongs to us. So heritage preservation is not nostalgia, it is a planning decision. Next is like the heritage districts needs a design language. I think so many of you were all talking about how that different areas in the city has certain, like some place has colonial architecture, some place has art deco. My friends from across the world, when they come, I take them around for little art deco spaces. But we see it's all mixed together with too many different kind of architectures happening. So again, CHC should look towards it. The scale of buildings, the streetscape, the materials. One of them, the most important part, is the street lighting. Oh my God, I know everybody will have things to say about it. But I think as a collective, if we go ahead and tell them please pay attention to that. Of course, you may have three-pronged lights lighting up the footpaths, but can we have a certain design language, and it cannot be the run-of-the-mill kind of design. Especially if you're walking through North Calcutta, the verandas, the courtyards, the narrow streets, the colors, they form a design language. Civic design must protect this language. Otherwise, the cities become a generic, glass box. Completely, can we work around with it? But the most important part, which I want to highlight, and I strongly believe, because whenever I go across the different parts of the world, is I walk those cities, and unfortunately, what has happened to our city, the sidewalks.
It doesn't
exist. I know there are vote bank politics and everything, but I always believe that yes, we have to be very generous to the people who are making their living out of the sidewalks. The amazing eateries in Dalhousie and every other place. Unfortunately, we forget that if a city seems or needs to be alive, the citizens needs to be alive too. And I always see the kind of accidents which are happening, the kinds of road spaces getting reduced constantly. It is just because we don't take care of our sidewalks. They're not walkable, they're taken over. And but I feel we can work together in tandem and create certain design language. The architects, I know, I think Obinda and everybody, they're all trying to create, and other architects, certain kind of, for the Thelawalas, design languages, for their design, for their occupation and everything. But this has to be a constant endeavor in tandem with the municipality and the government out here. Sidewalks, they allow the elderly people to move, for us to walk and run, not only go to the lakes or only to the middle of the city out here. Most importantly, for the women to feel secure. Of course, it's well-lit sidewalk, but also, the size of the sidewalks, where when you're walking through it, people are not jumping onto you. But also, sidewalks should also include this public, furnitures and architectures where people can come and sit and rest, and we cannot omit all of this. I'm seeing slowly and surely, other than bus stands, there are no places for people to rest. Old people cannot go out to rest. There are no public restrooms which are easily available. It always doesn't have to be paid toilets and all those things. So why I'm talking about this at a Heritage Collective, because I always highlight the fact that this beautiful old city can only survive if we plan ahead for future, and these are very, very important points we need to all raise to the government constantly. I know the spaces of the sidewalk are for livelihood, but if the city cannot guarantee safe walking for the citizens, then we have failed at the most basic level of civic planning. Another thing which I constantly see and I avail across the world is the public transport is a part of heritage and sustainability. Kolkata trams are not just heritage objects. They represent the philosophy of mobility, slow, shared, and non-polluting. And there are much more which is coming up. Yes, the metros, yes, the other things. But I find cities of the future must prioritize public transport like trams, buses, and also the ones who are working, to build the city. They cycle out to the rest of the city. We have completely taken away right for them to cycle around because we believe our car has the right to drive through these city streets. And finally, walkability. So we have to work around the private car dominance area, and we have to think about if the commoners cannot access the city and its ways of accessing through this city, then the city will not live for too long. A city for common people, a city that plans only for the wealthy is not a city of the future. A future city plans for the pedestrians, the bus passenger, the cyclist, the street vendor, and the child walking to school. Because those people form the real life of the city. I think when you were reading the poem that time, you talked about the foolwala of our neighborhood. They're slowly vanishing because we are, completely jam-packing our sidewalks. And unfortunately, that is going to happen more and more and more if we don't take care of this basic civic necessities. Heritage preserves the memory of the city. Civic planning protects the life of the city, and when both work together, a city becomes truly livable. There is no point of preserving beautiful buildings if the citizens of the city cannot walk safely past them and admire its beauty. Thank you so much.